Welcome back. 10 stance. And horse. Oops. All right, good. So today we're going to go through the second half of our curriculum of the week. A couple nights ago on the last class, we did yellow belt through green belt, and now we're doing brown belt through black belt. And that's how we divide up our curriculum, what we're going to be emphasizing that particular week. So it's just certain parts of the curriculum, not trying to do the whole system. It's still a lot. It's usually 4 or 5 techniques per belt, and so this is the second half of it. And with me today, we have Mr. Belfay, Mr. Lauer, Mr. Ramirez, and Dasha is returning. She's helped us with some other videos. So if we can have the first two partners come out first, and the gentlemen, if you can, the other two can go on the side, and we'll bring them back in to do different things. So this is very much instructional tonight. I want to, we're not flying through things and looking flashy and all that. We're mainly emphasizing what the attack is, the nature of the defense, the sequence, specifics, and I'll highlight some certain things in each technique. Okay? So for anybody, green belt going to brown, all the way up to first brown going to black. These are the techniques you need to know, or at least a portion of the techniques you need to know for your next advancement. All right? So the first technique is number 1 technique of third brown. So number 1 technique of third brown is flashing mace. So the attack is a step through right punch. So as he punches, she steps in and blocks, and her right hand is ready to go. She hammers fist to the head as she spins and hits. Now, when she does those strikes, I want her to emphasize a double strike with her back knuckle and heel palm to his arm. And then she's going to double check that arm and come around and whip the overhead all the way. And one more time, same speed, just by the numbers. 1, she blocks, and her hand is ready to go, and it's going to hammer straight through. And 2, she hits and spins, and that's a double strike, so it hits him in the arm and the ribs. Double tap his arm, and now whip the hand up and over the head. Okay? And from the opposite direction, so you get a better visual. So 1, and then 2, boom, double check, and 3. Okay? So flashing mace. Now on this, so on this, when you're doing this, we're here. When you hit, people say, well, do I hit now, or when do I hit? When your feet pass one another. So when you're in this position, remember a lot of you guys who do this break, you're doing this break at the beginning, that's nice. It's just not, when you're first teaching it, don't teach that. That's one step next. It's just a regular block, boom. But I have my hand here ready to go, and I'm going to take it from where it is to where it needs to be, right when my feet pass one another. So hit and step across your line. And as you hit, remember that's a double strike. Coming around this way. When you do the next move, and this is important, when you step through, many of you, my own students, you step through and then you hit. But when you hit, you step again. So you're way out here when you do your next move. Do it from this angle there. So as he hits, boom, I'm coming here, I'm ready to go. I strike, pop, right here with my hands. My feet come past each other, then spin. From here, it's a double strike. I don't take another step. You should be checking in with your body nice and close, not out here. Once you're here, do that double check. See this hand's ready? I'm pressing against him. So once I hit here, that double tap, I'm ready to go. I'm checking into him. And the wide kneel, remember, from a neutral bow to a wide kneel, you don't just drop lower. You drop lower and turn. Drop lower and turn. So you strike. This is the strike. It's not here. And remember, really one of the reasons you go into a wide kneel is so if you stay in the neutral bow and hit him in the head, you hit yourself as well. That's just ridiculous. So you double check. And when you do this strike, take it on an angle and duck under it. Boom. So when you're coming around, it's this way. So all the way up. Barely missing your head as you drop down. Okay? Let's move on. Let's do encounter with danger. Alright, yeah, let's start there. So iron attacks, 2-hand push, just you go to stay. So for a front attack, whether you tripped or you just weren't ready for it, or you get pushed and you'd rather go down and start kicking since they're so close. If they're really close, sometimes that is a good option. But basically, you get pushed and you can't get your footing, and you go to the ground. Anyone who's pushing to the ground is probably going to advance on you after that. As he advances, she's already got automatically, but go back to the last move, she had her left thrusting heel kick in his groin. That strike bends him over. Then she rotates and does a knife edge to his jaw. That stands him back up. She takes that time to roll to her stomach and gets her hands under her. As she pushes up with her hands, she also launches in with her left back kick. And she keeps looking at him now as she does her cover out from a kneeling position. See, she never took her eyes off of him. So one more time, walking through. He pushes, she goes down. Automatically, she's got her kick going. That bends him over, brings his head into position for the next kick. Boom. She rolls to her stomach, pushes up and into him. Boom, with that kick. Then, front cross without taking her eyes off of him. Okay? And we did both sides? Okay? So now Dasha will do it one more time, just one time on this side. So 1, 2, 3, and she's out, never taking her eyes off. Okay? All right. Let's move on. And the next technique is gathering clouds. So gathering clouds is for a shuffle right punch. Like all these techniques, like we discussed in earlier videos, and we've been discussing in our dojos for a very long time, they'll work, all these techniques work against many different attacks. This particular one, do it for a shuffle though. So it usually puts their other foot in front, and you want to be able to deal with someone who has their foot in front or does not have their foot in front, and different options available to you. It still works pretty well either way, but do this for a shuffle. So she shuffles in, he steps in and does a parry and a strike. And then rotates to his horse stance as he does that hand sword, drops into a neutral bow as he does the elbow straight between her feet. Boom. Checks down with both hands, comes around, hooks, and he's out. So one more time, he's going to pass through neutral to a horse on the first 2 strikes. So 1, 2, and then 3, right in, checks down, then comes around, and you're doing a 2-figure eye hook to the left eye and scoop in the groin. Okay, turn around, let's do the other side. And so 1, 2, and then 3, and then 4, boom, and right back down. Okay? Good. And you guys need to sit back for a second, Mr. Belpay. So on this one, and this is important, so if we're facing on this angle, as he comes in on this technique, remember, we're doing parry. So this is I'm moving his weapon with this. I'm moving the target, me, by stepping over here. But unlike leaping crane, where we come and face him, where we come out and face him, this is not that. So it's hitting to the face, we're actually going underneath it. So you're really doing your parry, striking straight. You're still doing this move we did in leaping crane, but now it's turning into him, keeping your feet on the ground, striking. So I parried, struck, and it's not a big circle. It's an oblong circle. It's a line, you just do a button hook at the end. So you're striking. See, the hips are all the way over here. Then you go back to your horse stance. The idea being is, when you come here, just like when you have a pair of nunchucks, and you whip them off your body, you have this in a few other techniques, even in the lower ranks. But when you do this strike, and boom, make sure it comes around with your hips and the hip. You'll see you get that little bit of extra check in there too. You're coming in, boom, so it goes, boom, here. Then from this position, you're in a horse stance, so I'm straight into him. Now step directly in as you do your elbow. So the footwork is off, rotated neutral bow, horse, directly in. Okay? You guys come back in now. Let's do dominating circles. So dominating circles for an offset right grab. So as Dasha comes and grabs her right hand, Ian's going to step off, pin. As he steps, he gets a little closer. Right? As he comes around, he's going to stomp behind her leg, circle his arm around, trap that arm. Now on this one, he doesn't slide his foot out, he just pivots as he strikes the heel pump. You not necessarily want to drop it to the ground right now. We want them to stay here and experience more of our Kenpo. So from here, he's going to do a front crossover, hand sword to jaw as he grabs the wrist. Here's where the technique gets its name. As he steps out with his left, he's going to pull down with his hooking hand and twist her wrist so it goes behind her back. At that point, he starts to grab the neck, step back, and drive her head right into the ground. Re-grab 2 hands on that arm, push, drag in reverse, shuffle in with a knee strike. Okay? Now let's turn around and do it again. So on the, so she comes offset grab, he pins the hand, steps, and then comes around with arm and leg. You'll see this in our katas as well. Forward bow is the heel palms, then front cross, strike the jaw and or the neck, steps out and twists the wrist, pulls the neck, grabs the back of the head, steps back again with the right foot, and pulls it down to the ground. So the head's in the ground, arms behind their back in a hammer lock. 2 hands grab the arm, push, drag in reverse, shuffle in, and knee strike. Dominating circles. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, good. Let's do circle of doom. Circle of doom. Yeah, Dasha, you're for this one? So, Ian's going to do the technique, Dasha's going to do the attack. So the attack is a step through thrusting ball kick to the right rib cage. We have our hand down, almost inviting them in, because we like them to kick us here because we have something planned. So it's going to start, Ian's going to do a downward inside palm down block that turns into a vertical outward block that eventually becomes an extended outward block, all to a reverse bow. So she thrusts the kick in, it's 1, all the way through, stay. And as she's landing, his heel comes straight up to the groin. He spins then, heel hooks, and from cross out. All right, one more time. So she does a slow, a right thrusting ball kick. He takes it out, up to the groin, spin, heel hook, and back out. Good, now opposite direction. So remember, when they kick and they're landing, boom, as they're coming down, the target is the groin. So as their groin is coming down, your heel should be coming up at the same time. So they're coming together. And 1, boom, and kick. So he did it 1, 2, the same way you should be doing it. That's good. All right, and let's move on. That was Circle of Doom. All right, so for the 3rd round, those are the 5 techniques you should be working on. If you're a green belt going to the 3rd round, those are your 5 techniques to work on today. And now, get some extra credit. So now we're going to seconds. And I think Mr. Ramirez comes in now. All right, and let's do lead from danger. So this is a 2-hand push. Instead of from the front, it's from the rear. And instead of just trying to get our footing, if you feel you're already going down, turn it into a roll. All right, everyone has stumbled in their life, everyone. And you usually try to get your footing. But at a certain point, in a nanosecond, you usually figure, okay, I'm not getting to my feet anymore. So most civilians who don't know Kenpo will hit and slide. Kenpo people, when they realize, yeah, I'm not catching my footing, I'm already too low, my height's been checked out, you turn it into a roll back to your feet. That's what this is, roll out of it. So move a little bit towards the blue pole. So Mr. Lauer pushes Mr. Ramirez from behind. He does a right shoulder roll. He comes up. Now his first foot maneuver, when he comes up, because again, he did not push him to then not come after him. He will be coming after him. That's the reason they're starting this. He does a push drag in reverse in the very first move. Then he off angles with his front foot, roundhouse kick, plants, and does a spinning back kick. Boom. Okay? And that push drag in reverse when you first come up is vital. You come up, they're probably going to be on top of you because they can run forward faster usually than you can roll. So if they pushed you when they were right behind you and then came after you, they're going to be right on top of you. So come up, push drag in reverse, and then just step off angle and hit him. So he does 1, he does a push and the shoulder roll. And he pushes drag in reverse, does a roundhouse kick, and spinning back kick. Boom. Okay, now from the opposite direction. One more time now. Again, normally you'll do just a regular roll. It might be a little bit of a dive roll. So if they push you, just boom, take it to your right shoulder and you go. So he does a roll, comes up, push drag in reverse, off angle, kick, spin, kick. Okay? Alright, very nice. And let's go to escape from death. Escape from death. So that's from a choke from behind. So I think a little more to the center. So we have chokes in the system from the front, right, like locking horns, from the side, grip of death, grasp of death, and from the rear. Generally speaking, the rear chokes are most important to learn defense against, because they're the ones that are not going against the side of your neck, they're going against your trachea. Airflow and then blood flow. So you have to make sure they're not there very long. So as Mr. Lauer comes up to choke behind, the first thing any of us should be thinking about when the choke comes around is to turn your head and tuck your chin. Turn and tuck, turn and tuck. Now he's going to come up and grab the hand anyway, but there may be a situation where your hands are not available. They may be pinned. You have to be able to turn and tuck so they can't get in there and start cutting off your air or your blood flow. So he grabs his right, turns and tucks, steps off with his right foot, does an elbow strike. And of course, his elbow strike landing exactly with his foot at the ground and hammer fist the groin. Then he comes around, checks the knee with his knee, and does a double hammer fist up, one to the kidney, one to the groin. And the simultaneous strikes generally have more effect than strikes that come in sequences on the body. It tends to shock the body a little more than a sequence of strikes, simultaneous strikes. So we like to have sequences of simultaneous strikes. So from there, he's going to take that hand and slide up, and generally you grab the filter, which is right here below the nose, above the lip, or the eye sockets, or the hair, if you have some of that. And then the main point here, though, is when you pull back, you're not really pulling back your shoulder muscle, you're anchoring your elbow down, because it gives you a lot more power, you utilize your marriage of gravity, and as he anchors it down, it also yanks his head straight back. And then there's a heel palm. Good. And as he's doing that heel palm, his left hand's checking his arm, and then a strike to his thigh. So one more time in the same position. So he turns and tucks, grabs, steps, elbows, and hammers. So a lot of things are happening at once. The turn and tuck and grab are all at once. Then he comes around and checks that knee, he hammers, reaches up, and pulls down, and whack. Straight to the thigh. Okay? Gentlemen, thank you, Mr. Beaufet. So on this one, I'll go this way. So he's behind me. So again, when they're coming up with that choke, I got to emphasize this a lot. We're not here. That's a side headlock. Okay? It's not a front headlock either. It's a rear. And that headlock is really a choke. Now, right against the trachea, and you're in trouble. So you've got to turn and tuck as best you can. Get this up here, tuck it in like you're trying to bite your left shoulder. When you come around and hit, this next move is important. When I used to do this technique before I was with Mr. Parker, I would step around and I was taught to be with this knee. He said, no, you usually don't have that much freedom of motion. He said, just come around, boom, and just check right there. Just check that knee on the. So all you really did is from this position, after you've hit, you just a little tiny step and boom, just right to here. And if you have someone big and strong on you, usually you don't have much freedom of motion, so you have to make that small step. And just you make that the same way. Just hit that and shoot these things in. Now, let's turn around. So right from here, I just hit. I hit here. I hit here. See my hand? I'm hitting the kidney, but I don't release and come grab. I slide up his back. I frequently go up the back, so I never let go. I never lose contact. It's straight up and right in. So my hand came straight up and in, anchored. Whether I got the filter or I have the eyes, the hair, whatever it is, this is the position. And this is important. As soon as you let go, relieve pressure on a person, they have freedom of motion. So once you hit and you shoot up, that's important. Don't release. Anchor straight down. This is what you want. His neck going back, exposing all these vital targets. Boom, break. Keep this thing checked. And then just shoot this in at the same time. Some people say, is there another strike? No, there could be, but just keep this thing checked. So come back in. Okay? Thanks, sir. All right, guys. Let's move on. And we are doing menacing twirl. So this is for a left-hand belt grab. A left-hand belt grab. So he's grabbing his belt from behind. Again, a lot of unknowns here, so we have to be smart on how we attack it. So Anthony's going to go to a transitional twist stance with his right foot. As he now unwinds, he utilizes all the dimension of width, rotational torque, and depth at the tail end of it. So he unwinds, blocks, and hits. From that position, he's going to do a left knee strike to the groin, right heel palm, and then the opposite, right knee strike, left heel palm, and land with your elbow. In all these techniques, again, we can spend 10 or 15 more minutes at least going through different details and whatnot, application details and the nature of it, history of it. So there's other things in here, but that's all the primary parts are right there. One more time. So he does a transitional twist stance, now unwinds hard, boom. That's a very strong move. You'll see that in a number of our techniques, very strong move. And now he's going to knee and strike, and elbow. Okay? So it is done as a chicken kick. You don't have to. You can knee and strike, step, knee and strike. But it's generally done as in a chicken fashion. All right? Now, one of the reasons, thanks, gentlemen, one of the reasons, when I was learning this, I remember Mr. Parker was very adamant it was a left-hand belt grab. And I said, why? Why a left hand? Why in this one so much a left hand? He says, because it's a right hand grab, and we do the same move. We're used to doing a move where we do our transitional twist or whatnot, and as we unwind, boom, we start hitting them, and it checks them right away. When I block that, it's checked off. When I'm blocking this one, he can't hit with his other hand. So it's called cross-checking. When you block him across the body, it's called cross-checking. If you block, so if you're expecting that, and you expected to have the cross-check, and now suddenly you're coming into this, and I've got his other hand to deal with, he says that's what you got to be thinking about. So if they've got their left hand, and you do your transitional twist, and you bring your hands over, when you unwind, boom, you have another thing coming in. So instead of just doing the block, make sure you do the block, block and the heel pump. So block and heel pump. So irrespective of what's happening here, you have to be aware of the fact, when you block this arm, it invites this side. When you block this arm, it tends to check them across. That's why we do a left-hand grab. So you're practicing this, practice with a left-hand grab, not a right-hand grab. All right, and let's move on. And let's do securing the storm. So right roundhouse club attack. So Mr. Lauer steps in, does an outward block, and a thrusting punch to his face. One more time. So do it kind of slow. You're doing these simultaneous. Throw them exactly at the same time. And one, boom. Yeah, so your foot hits the ground, your left hand hits their arm, your right hand hits their face all at the same time. Now he swings all the way around to his 1030, does an uppercut punch under the elbow, and a heel palm strike to the high point of the shoulder at the same time. Now he keeps him locked there, so now he can switch slightly back and all the way in, and simply just take it down. Okay, and back to position. So again, generally when they come in on that right side, we come in with our right side. Well, this one, they're coming in with their right side, we're coming in with our left. So you have to make sure your footwork, it challenges you to mix it up a little bit. Is it an even stance? Is it an odd stance? Remember, even stances are right to right, left to left. Odd stances are just the opposite, left to right or right to left. Okay, so he comes in with his club, he comes one, and now he's going to swing all the way around and basically traps the arm. And it's not just a trap, it's a trap with a strike and a break. Now he keeps him locked in there and steps back a little bit. See how it tugs him? And then he comes in behind him. Down, and then boom. Okay? Alright, this is okay. Maybe this way. So when you guys are doing this one and he comes in, when you're doing this move, shoot these off together. And again, don't back up, because then I got a club to deal with. I'm trying to catch it before this is his destination. Before he gets to his destination, I want to be in here somewhere, hitting this. So as he comes in, the main idea is shoot at the same time. For this next move though, I'm going to circle around. I'm not going to move way over here. I'm going to cut across the football field, and as I come around this, I want to step straight to here. You can see, you're getting that feel of breaking their arm. But as you do that, this other hand rather, as I do this, it's not just checking. It's boom, you hit at the same time. So as I do that first move, and I come around, hit it, boom, same time you're breaking, you're hitting. If you take your arm and work it back like that, you feel right at the point, there's a nerve there, it hurts. So when you pop this, and he's starting to do this with his arm, that point comes out, and that's what you're hitting. And remember, options on this one are to lock up here. You have an automatic arm bar there. You have your figure 4 arm bar. So you can always just do this and lock it in. Instead of being here, you can also hit here and then push here, or even to here, or even to here. Now I'm locking my arm and grabbing the throat, and have the arm in. So it's a nice little move. But the idea is when you do this, keep them there, pull them back just a little bit before you come back in. Don't go back to front switch. all you're doing, you're right behind his foot, slide it out far enough, just far enough to get your foot back in behind him. And then, okay? And don't do something real sweet, just pivot. All right, here we go. Let's do the next one. Taking the mace. So this one is against a wall, Darren. So he's not against the wall. Like his back is up against the wall, but not technically touching the wall. You're assuming right now you got a little bit of distance, but your options of mobility are slightly cut off. So Anthony's going to come in, not with a straight punch, not with a roundhouse punch, not with a directly overhead. It's coming on a diagonal this way, which is a more difficult attack to deal with. So Solaro steps in with the left inward parry and a hand sword to the arm. Boom. So one more time. Parry and hand sword. Immediately does a whipping back fist and grabs the arm. So he hooks into it, anchors those elbows, and once he's got it hurt, so you hurt his arm, hurt him in the face, at that moment, you got to do your step to reverse. So you take him with you while he's injured. Slam him against the wall, and then bring your knee and your elbow together. So once more, the knee and the elbow. He comes with knee and elbow. That knee is to the groin. The elbow strike is across the trachea to the throat, and they hit simultaneously. Okay? So one more time, he's against the wall, and he does 1, 2, grab. Now reverse step through, hit, and then boom, rise and come back. Taking the mace. Okay? And for now, Mr. Lauer. So on this, when we do, just do a straight punch. Normally when we do things, we go on the inside or we go on the outside. We can block it or we can block it. This is interesting because, and also usually when we step with this foot, we're coming to the inside. We step this way, we come to the outside. Well, this time we're stepping to the outside and striking to the outside, parry, but also striking to the inside. So when you're doing this, it's one hand to the outside and one hand to the inside. So as you go from point of origin and you move it, as soon as you hit, right away, you hit, smack, and then go. So it's 1, 2, 3. But outside, inside, it's an outside defensive action, which turns into a bit of a strike, but a major strike to the high point of their forearm, their muscle rather. Their bicep is here, hit to the high point of the bicep that tends to put the muscle into a spasm. So as soon as you do this, you right away smack, grab. But that 1, 2, 3, it's important. The outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside. All right, good. Mr. Ramirez. And Josh, right? Yeah. So Josh, next one in. And let's see, circling fans. So nice and slow, nice and slow. So the attack on circling fans is a left-right punch. So she'll step back, do an inward, downward, diagonal parry. And then she casts back and does a left, inward, downward, diagonal parry. It's a parry, because you think it defensive, it's really a strike. Think of those as torquing heel palms. Immediately, she kicks and punches. That punch is technically to the forehead. Check down across his midsection as she does a front crossover. Vertical punch to the solar plexus. Now she knees to the groin and strikes up under the jaw. She comes back out, surveys, and the survey says, okay? One more time, by the numbers. So 1, she strikes it down. You see how she's striking his arm down diagonally. That's what you want. So it helps to start checking out his height. It's not up here where he still has mobility with his feet. When you check someone down like that, it puts weight on the front foot, it's harder to step forward with any kind of authority. Then he punches with the other hand, she strikes that one down too. Then she kicks him and punches the forehead. Front cross, check and punch. Knee and lift and out. And then back in. Good. And thank you, Joshua. And just for 2 seconds. So on this, so remember, when these are coming in, when you do this first move, do it this way. So it's this way. So it's a strike. See my hands here? So it's not an open hand parry like this. It comes here and torques into it. So when you're coming back, boom, you're coming straight down, not just with your fingers, the heel of the palm. So it strikes. It's not just a defensive thing. It's your hurt. Okay? That last move, once we do the knee strike, remember that knee strike makes him start bending over. I come up, just like we would in lone kimono. where we come up like an uppercut and turn it and break the arm. That's the striking service on long kimono. On this one, exactly the same thing. He's kind of turned coming down here, we're close. I come up under this way, but then I pop it. So I come up under, pop, and pop him with this weapon again. Boom, the target now is under his chin. Boom, up and under. Okay? And next technique. Clip the storm. So yeah, they're both in the left neutral bow. So Anthony comes in with a stab. She strikes the high point of his forearm. Because again, we're striking twice to the radial nerve in this technique. One up high on the forearm where the radial nerve has already branched off. It's up here. And then the second time is right here at the wrist. Both those are designed, one, to check him out, but also to make open his hand. Hitting the radial nerve there and then there. Now she cats it behind him with a hand sword to the neck, steps through and does a heel palm to the back. Okay? And here we go. On your last move, just for right now, just step straight through on your last move. Instead of a sweep, just step straight through. So one more time. He comes in and she steps off the front foot, strikes again, and just strikes straight through and he moves back. Yeah. Okay, let's switch around. So the first move is off angle, boom, and then. Not good. And Mr. Buffet. So again, when we're in this position, let's do this. Yeah. So I'm in a neutral bow, he's coming in. When I step off, remember we off angle, you say off angle, most people think back foot. And that's true. You can off angle with the back foot. You can also off angle with the front foot. And then you start doing these other ways as well. But in this technique, if he's coming in here, I want to change the width of my body. I can do that by simply stepping. Well, good. I've changed width by just moving up and over, so a little depth and width. But I did change it just by stepping. But the important part is I have to also change it by turning to a horse stance. So when I start in this position, I go up and over. And technically the back foot doesn't even move. What I want to do as he comes in is jam him. That's one of the reasons I used to do this technique hitting the wrist first. Mr. Parker said, no, that elbow is too easily bendable and coming straight at you. Hit him in the forearm, boom, check it against his body. Now you have an isolated target here at the wrist. So once you hit here, now you have that, you know exactly where it is. So when you step off the first move, you should be able to jam him into his body. So you're going straight away. Then, straight up. Right from that position, straight up position. And you don't worry about a sweep. Just step in, heel palm. But that first move is vital. Neutral bow, and then we come off, boom, check him off the forearm, then strike, then come off. Okay? And next technique. Thrust in the darkness. So, thrust in the darkness is for a straight right punch coming to you from directly behind you, from your 6 o'clock. So, as Dasha comes in and punches, Anthony shoots off the line, does a back kick. Now, so any available target, we're going to say the stomach, though, stomach, right ribs. Then he steps through with a ball kick to her shoulder blades and moves her back a little more. Now, at this point, remember, every step you take in Kenpo is a gauging step. You have to figure out, do I have to take a bigger step here or less of a step? Is it a front crossover or is it a switch? Technically, we teach it as a front crossover because we figured they might be a little further away. What if they're not? So he would technically do a front crossover and kick out, land, forward bow strike, and back out. Survey says kick. Okay? So one more time. And this time, Dasha's going to back up a little more on the second kick, but I'll tell her. So one, boom, that's a back kick. Plant, ball kick, and she backs up a little bit more, yeah. Front crossover, kick out the lead leg, land, the universal strike, out, and then back in. Okay? So, Mr. Ramirez? Sir? When we're doing that last strike, so go down the knee, just go down this knee. So as you just did that kick and you land, boom. The strike is called a universal strike. Normally when we do these strikes, you have it this way, because it's a universal position, right, for a block. But this one's this way. You're hitting to the temple, right, or the high point of the jaw, and spine or any available target. But it's not here. It's not this one, it's this one. And it's a transitional, boom, forward bow. So as you do this, don't come here. Lock it and come back. Boom, and then come back out. So as soon as you kick, throw this thing in straight together, then back out. Lock out that stance and back in. Boom. And then come back out. All right? Transitional forward bow. All right, and moving on. And fatal cross. So fatal cross for low, grab, or push. So Anthony's going to come in. She's going to hook back, and these are the weapons. Hook in and connect your fingers. Hook back, circle back in and hit. Remember we talked about the other night. As we came in, my knuckles go out, in, and up. Boom, all the way through. So crushing those subterranean targets, going after something beneath the surface. Cross, hit, and hit. Grab. So she does anchor the elbows. She does a left knee in the groin, right knee solar plexus. And then she lands. She's going to pull down hard with her left anchored elbow and push and get a choke going first. Then hit that elbow strike to the jaw, claw the face, grab. Step back. Now it's a right knee, left knee kick. Here we go. And so slowly she hooks, and now 1, that's the ribs, 2, side of the temples, 3 is the eyes, grab, right hand's on top, left hand you see, left knee, right knee, land with an elbow, and then choke first, then an elbow, and claw across the face, grab, pull back, and now right knee, left knee, kick, and you're out. Okay? All right, good. So as we're doing that cross, once we've got to this position, so it's important, once you give that last knee, as you land, every time you're landing, using your weight, use it to do something. Don't land and then do something. You're already here, so land, boom, and get that choke going. Because I pull down here and shoot this across, I already got a hold of him, it starts choking him off a little bit better. So just a little bit extra, boom, and then it collapses, pop, hit him with the elbow. It's usually the end of my elbow. It's not so much here, it's hit him with that end of the elbow. Now claw around the face, we start to turn him, but you're literally leaving streaks across the face, right from here, and grab. Now latch onto it, okay? But when you land on that move, you're already here. Land, get that, pull down, and just get that choke going first. Then it goes choke hit, rip, come back. Okay? All right, good. And let's move on to the next one. Is that the 2 minutes? No. Yes, gathering the snakes. So gathering the snakes, one of the 2-man techniques from first round. So gathering the snakes, just like the name implies, bad guys are the snakes, and you're bringing them together. We also have parting the snakes, so you know you're separating them, so it's easy to remember sort of which is which. So, usually. So I'm gathering the snakes, slowly. Sailor number 1 is coming in with the left punch. And sailor number 2 is just encroaching. They're getting close, they're coming in for something up to no good. Step away from the sailor number 2, step towards sailor number 1. Double parry back knuckle, and off angle hit, and hand sword. So any of you guys who know Circling Destruction, that's Circling Destruction. And you see, he started in one position, now he's off to Mr. Lauer's side. As he drags up, he slides even further behind. And then kicks out that front leg and lands facing Dasha and throwing the body. In a perfect world, this is just a blockade for her. In a perfect world, you're throwing him on her legs, and it takes him a beat then to get around and still try to get you. Then as she starts to come in, he does a twist stance, roundhouse hits the head, boom, lands to the back knuckle to the solar plexus. Now he grabs the shoulder, so he has her anchored. As he does his front crossover, he tries to clip this guy on his way in, and clips her on the way up and out. He does a back kick and a ball kick. Okay? So gathering the snakes. Ready? So left punch comes in, double parry back knuckle, off angle heel palm and hand sword, grab, drag up, kick, and throw him on her. And now in place twist, she comes around, he kicks her in the head, back knuckle, land, front cross, hit, spin, kick, and out. Alright? So on that first move, thank you, Solar. Thank you, Dasha. So as he comes in, we're coming here, boom, hit. So let's do it this way. So as he comes in, I'm coming in, hit. So you're doing double parry back and go. So I start in front of him, and I step, and I'm kind of starting to get to his 45. As I shoot off, I'm more on his 45/90, and I hand sword. I grab, but when I grab and I come up now, I'm all the way coming up behind him. So now I'm facing 180 degrees from where I was. So I've circled behind him, that's when you're kicking out this leg and throwing him. But the whole idea is when we start, I'm here, I'm in front of him, and then I come off. I'm to the side. As I come up, I'm already way behind him, using him as a blockade for that person anyway. Then you kick out and go. So move up the circle with all those foot maneuvers. Okay? And for the black belt techniques, so I'm going to diagonal. And so nice and smooth. Let's see destructive kneel. Destructive kneel is for a step through straight right punch. Destructive kneel. You're compelling them to kneel. So he steps in, parry, grab, break, and lift. And rip through a back knuckle and a heel palm claw. And then, again, it's a universal strike. Back knuckle to the kidney or spine, and of course the left punch directly to the spine. When you do the back knuckle to the left kidney, it's going to penetrate the spine as well, but spine and spine. And now from that position, he shoots up in his left hand, hooks the front of the face, knee strikes the spine again, hammer fist to the jaw, he goes down, downward looping roundhouse. Okay? One more time. So he comes in with a right punch, he steps in, parry, grab, break, rip, and strike. Slide up that hand, grab, knee, and hammer. And downward looping roundhouse. Good. Mr. Belvey? Thank you, gentlemen. So let's try it this way. So as he comes in, again, I'm just slipping it. And this is more advanced because you're stepping directly in on a right punch and then attacking not just one limb, you're attacking both limbs. Destructive kneel. So as I come in, remember, divert, and even with weaponless attacks, it's still divert and seize. You almost always divert and then grab onto it. So I'm going to divert, and as I seize, I need to, and you're not going to be looking down, so you have to use your sense not of sight, use your sense of touch. On the next move, I'm just going to pivot, so I'm trying to find his leg. I'm trying to find where it is. I don't really have to look down. As soon as I do that parry, it's like, whoa. And just so I hit his knee, hit his elbow. So it's knee and elbow. These are simultaneous. But as I kneel even lower, boom, this goes up even higher. So I'm kneeling, boom, all the way up. This goes over, destructive kneel. So it's not just that initial impact of here, it's here, kneeling even more. Then you go through, boom, remember, heel palm claw, back knuckle, both passive action. And then back in, kidney and spine, or both spine, we do kidney and spine. From here, just like the last technique, or two techniques ago, don't release and come up. Shoot up. Just shoot up as I grab. I'm shooting up, my elbow's still there, and this turns into a push. So I'm going to push here and pull here as you do your knee. So you're pushing and pulling, checking the best I can with this arm. But pulling down, pushing down. Okay? Get that kneeling in there. Parry, kneel, and lift hard. Ready? And let's move on. And escape from the storm. So, club attack from the right flank. So stepping in, left parry, right thrusting heel palm. Yes. And then he steps in, does a elbow strike, coming down, and then hammer fist to the groin, turns into a grab. And now, spin. Good. Now get him up on that foot, get him unbalanced, but you can't wait there long. Immediately front cross and break. So you're breaking just above their knee, on their thigh, their leg across your leg. From that position, does a left striking parry to the inside of the leg, and immediately strikes to the groin. Again, with this weapon, those fingers together, pop. Goes to reverse, kneeling stance, hits it again. Does a front crossover, hits it again. Now unwinds and does a heel strike to the shoulder. Okay? So like so many of these techniques, most all of these techniques in the brown and the black, and many of the ones even in the lower belts, they're not just, in the old days before Ed Parker was around, when a martial arts system calls something a technique, it was usually one or two moves. That's a technique. Maybe three. Usually one or two moves. That's a technique. Ed Parker came along and said, let's have longer sequences. So not to overkill, just to be overskilled. So when you flow through a sequence, maybe the first, second, or third things didn't really work exactly like you intended. because of environment or attitudes or whatever it was, you're trained to continue on with that sequence. And if things are working, you don't have to continue on, and you'll know that instinctively. You'll know that. We want to have these long sequences. These techniques, all of them, are 2, 3, maybe 4 ideas put together. We're just forced to go through the entire sequence. But you should take all these upper rank techniques and separate them out and figure out, okay, that's the technique all by itself. Like that last technique, parry, break, break. That's a technique. That's a technique. Then the second part's another technique. Third part's another technique. So that's at least 3 sequences put together in destructive kneel. Think of it that way, and even practice it that way, then put it back together. But get those individual pieces. This is the same thing. You may not like the whole sequence. There's everyone has their favorite techniques in the system. And you don't negate them from the system. You don't delete them from the system because you don't like them or you don't do them well. They're there to improve your overall motion. Force yourself to do the techniques that you don't like too much or you find difficult, and usually they're one and the same. But in this, it does teach you. I remember years ago working with a guy named Steve Herring, who was one of Mr. Trejo, Frank Trejo's instructors. And he was cross-training in a Kung Fu system for many years. And of course, he had all the Ed Parker years. He was with Mr. Parker. And he also was a fighter for a long, long time. He did a lot of kickboxing and then tournaments, full contact and point. So, great guy. But he used to, I trained with him for a while, and he would say, he would show me these really low twist dances that I would think just awkward and they're difficult. It's like, oh, why are we doing these? And he would start putting them into sequences like this. They're almost the same thing to this. Some even a little more twisted up, a little bit lower. But he says, you know, these aren't things you'll ever do in a street altercation. But if you can do those twist dances and those foot maneuvers and move through this sequence, oh, you know, the Kenpo twist dances and all the regular stances themselves are easy. It's easy to get through those sequences because these are going to challenge you and these will make those better. And he's right. So this is one of those techniques. So you get a lot of those little twist dances and whatnot. It gives you a different idea of how to move a body around. And it does make you move their body around. That's the other thing that's difficult, especially if you get a larger person. So he does the first move, steps in, parries, and he almost stays. So on that first move, you saw it. He moved the weapon with his left parry. He moved Anthony's weapon. And he also moved the target, him. He got out of the way and stepped into him with that heel palm. Then he just steps in, strikes down to the solar plexus with his ascending elbow, descending elbow, but also it's a half flapping and half downward elbow. And then hammer, grab. He's going to push with his left, pull with his right, and spin all the way around. Now he spins around and just reverses direction right away. So right as Anthony's getting pulled around, suddenly, you're trapping his leg and breaking it. Shoot it off with your left hand, come around, strike once in neutral bow, strike again, come through, strike a third time, unwind, and heel kick, and you're out. All right? All right, let's move on. And fatal deviation. So fatal deviation is for a right-left punch, a right-left punch. So on the first move, Mr. Lauer steps back and does an inward block. Now, as Mr. Ramirez throws the left, Mr. Lauer could stay there and just do an outward block and punch, but he's going to emphasize it by trying to do a push drag forward to a forward bow. He does an outward block and a punch. Boom. Okay? Maybe a small, maybe a big. It depends on where they are. But Mr. Parker emphasized he wanted. Technically, I didn't want that in there. I asked Mr. Parker, let's not have that push drag in there. Because I thought it was more awkward for me to do. Push drag stays. Okay, good. So, push drag in that position. And it also, now when I had to put the push drag in, it made me go much faster on my first sequence. I did that block and made sure I had enough time. I beat him to it to get there so I could do a whole push drag and lock out my arm. So it serves its purpose. And then hand sword to the neck. Okay? Front crossover, hammer the right ribs, and heel palm the right side of the face. Now without picking up your foot, he slides his right knee into the inside of Anthony's right knee, sandwiches the face, hammers the groin, and out, and survey says kicks. Okay? So, turn around and face the other direction now. So, he steps back and does his inward block, shuffle, hand sword. Front cross, strike, immediately just step through, smash, hammer, and come back out, back in and kick. Okay? Good gentlemen, this is okay? So, when you're doing this one, a couple things on this. So when you're here, you're doing the inward block, and he does this one, boom, shuffling, of course. But practice in your drills with your students or yourself, practice the 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Don't worry about the shuffle right now. As a drill, just 1, 2, 3. It's a universal move in what we do. But once you do the 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, and from this position, right when you hit this move, you're going to do a front cross. This hand is going to circle to these ribs. This hand's going to come up and hit. Just circle this way. As soon as you hit, circle. So as he's still a little dizzy from this, you circle these in together. But now, this is the key. From this position, you have techniques where you lift and strike. We have lots of those. Mr. Parker said, no, on this one, just step straight through. So when this position comes in, just step in, straight in. From that position, you're hitting, step in, take their leg, and this comes over right from that position. It just strikes and hammers, and then back out. So once you hit, boom, boom, right from there, hit, right when you come in, step in. Don't pick it up. Just step in. As soon as you clip this, it goes right over the shoulder, bang, and back out. Okay? And entwine lance. So entwine lance is for a right high thrust, a knife thrust. What does a high thrust mean? High thrust means shoulder plexus are higher. So do the first move. One more time. So remember, coming up the circle. If this is your 12 o'clock, you don't do it in place. You come up the circle. And where your foot's pointing is where the opponent is. Divert. And immediately when he diverts, he seizes. Steps in. I asked Mr. Parker, at what point in this technique does that blade come out? He says, at the very latest, right now. You have 3 points of contact. You're holding here, you're hitting there, and you should be checking his leg. But that heel palm, he says, should make him drop that knife. Now when you're practicing it, practice it all the ways you want. In your mind though, make sure you're efficient enough to come in and break that jaw, or knock him out, or both, and make sure that knife goes out. Alright, from this position, Nancy, do the next move. So, you're doing 3 things at once, very Kenpo. Checking down his arm with your arm, your hand, and poking him in the eyes, and sweeping out the inside of his front leg. All at once, you pass through that crane stance. So this is all done at once. These stay here, especially this, you want to keep his head at bay. All by itself, don't snap it. He kicks inside the knee, and he doesn't snap it back, he keeps it there. Now he lands, because that foot kicks and lands. It does not retract. It stomps, because you want to buckle out their knee, and then stomp on their instep. As you stomp the instep, this does a back hook to the ribs, this re-grabs. From there, that brought his head down. He does a flapping elbow, immediately does a back knuckle. Now stay. The flapping elbow, when he had him down here, flapping elbow, turn to more of a horse, so you get a little hip action, and back to a neutral when you do that back knuckle. Cat stance, heel pump. Or hammer fist rather. So cat stance with your hammer, and then you're out. One more time, kind of slow.
The other answer? The same one.
No, same time.
Yes.
So, 1, so he diverts and seizes as he comes up the circle. Now 2, 3 points of contact, trying to make him drop that knife. 3, just stay there. Good. That's, you got to understand, that's all by itself. I mean, this is all together rather, these 3 actions. Now the next kick is a singular move. He kicks, now he stomps the backwards as he re-grabs that wrist. Just in case that knife's still there, and also just to have a modicum of control. And now he pivots slightly to a horse stance as a flapping elbow, immediately back knuckle to the face, and then hammer from a cat stance. He's out. Now spin around to the other side, or from the other direction. So we're 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the flapping elbow, 7 is the back knuckle, 8 is the hammer. Good. So when you're doing that back knuckle, you back knuckle, it's just flat, pop, pop. It's flat, so flap, hit, hit. So that's another nice little drill. When you isolate things, that last little move is the technique's all by itself. Get to the back knuckle, so flap to the face, so flap, back knuckle, pop, pop, pop. So in a horse neutral cat. So right when you're here, it's pop, pop. So pop, 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 horse neutral cap. Good. And next technique?
This.
Unfolding the dart. So this is for a left punch from your right rear flank. So he steps in to do the punch. Mr. Ramirez moves away and kicks his knee. Boom. Plants down, gauges his distance, and kicks to his ribs. So both of those moves should stun them pretty well. Especially take your mind off what you're about to do. So you weaken the leg, hopefully broken the leg. Now, gauge your step. Remember, when you plant, just as he planted right here, he should be in heel-toe alignment. The heel and toe, not toe-heel. So you have the room to spin and sweep. So he spins, is behind the leg, and sweeps it backwards. Now, he doesn't kick it out and Mr. Lauer flies in the air. It just buckles him and he starts going back. From that position, Mr. Ramirez hits his back knuckle. So he swept, back knuckle, check on top, wide nail, hammer. And now he's going to do a back to front switch. Back to front, coming up the circle and stomping on the head. And back to position. One more time. And so he gets out of the way and kicks his leg. And drags up. And spins, buckles the leg. And now checks on top hard and hammers the chest, solar plexus. Switches back to front, come up the circle, and stomp. Do one face the other direction now. So again, he takes his knee, and then drags up to the ribs, spins, sweeps, checks on top, hammers down, back to front, spinning, stomp. Okay? And thank you, gentlemen, and Mr. Delphin. So on that move, when we did, when you come around and you sweep, so you start the buckle, and that's in a reverse neutral bow. Immediately come around and check on top. So as soon as you do the kick, you're going kick hit. But the kick hit, and this starts to blow them out. This checks on top. But this wide nail comes all the way around. See, I don't bring it straight down. I'm bringing it this way. I'm bringing it around, so it's coming on this diagonal. So you're coming here, all the way around. You're dropping down. Now from here, I wanted to get a stomp to his head. So it's hard for me to do it here. So I've got to go back and front, spinning switch. I got to move from here all the way up to there. So I do back, and you don't slide your foot. If you split it, you might run into their arm like his. So as you do this, back to front, as I go to do the stomp, I'm coming here, I pick it up. Just pick it up, and as you stomp, boom, you go right over the arm. So whether it's there or not, doing it from this position, coming around. So if you're here, check on it. You back knuckle, check on top. Come around this way, not this way, around this way. And then sweep, bring it up just slightly. See my foot just comes slightly up and stomps back. Just come out. All right, good. So guys, can you line up? So again, one of the main things to remember from all these techniques, especially these more advanced ones, it's not really, a way to think of it is not really just one technique. These sequences are 3 or 4, sometimes 5 techniques, ideas put together. And every one of them is trying to teach you certain things about the Kenpo that we do. So it's not just, well, the theme of this technique is this and that and that. On these, the theme of the beginning of the technique, yes, it's the name of the technique came from this, usually from the first move and all that. And that's great. But the rest of the technique on these long ones all have their own little themes and ideas and principles and concepts. So practice your longer sequences, these techniques like that. So tomorrow we'll do another class, not a live class, but next Monday we'll do another live one with the next set of curriculum, the next set of techniques. And again, we have a 6-week rotation, sometimes a 7-week, maybe even an 8, but it's generally a 6-week rotation. And if you go through all 6 weeks, you will have gone through every technique of the base system up to black belt. All right? Work on that. Be together. And horse.